This is the Heart of Singing podcast, the place where passionate singers and vocal coaches of many different styles will share their passion about the wonderful art of singing and making a career with their voices. I'm your host, Henry Crescini. Now, let's get started. Hello everybody, welcome to the Heart of Singing podcast. I am your host, Henry Crescini, and this is the first episode of the year 2023. I don't know when you're listening to this, but I'm recording in 2022, so I'm still in the past, kind of. And I wanted to give you this time a couple tips. So this is like your typical, 5 tips to do this or 10 best ways to do this or that, but I wanted to do it in an honest manner and without clickbaity titles and so on and so on. So I hope you will like it, and I hope this year 2023 I'll be able to bring more episodes. And like I said on the last update I gave you, I will be having interviews, but I also want to do short episodes with topics related to singing. So this episode today is called Becoming a Better Singer in 2023. I was inspired by it because, it's December when I'm recording this, and people are always thinking about their New Year's resolutions, and we all know them, and we all love them or hate them, and we all try to do new things, and we all try to change things that haven't worked out well, and we think to ourselves next year it's going to be better and better. But fact is, you can change everything that is not working right away. But since this episode is coming out in January, then it goes well with this overall topic of New Year resolutions. So I prepared it in this way, and I'm giving you 5 tips to become a better singer in 2023. So without further ado, the first tip is, of course, practicing. Of course. I mean, you could stop the episode right now and go to practice and don't watch it any further or don't listen to it any further. But I hope you stay and you stick around because, I'm stating the obvious, practicing. It's like any sort of discipline, any sort of skill you want to master requires practice. And the problem with singing, and that's one of the things that inspired me to do this podcast in the first place, is the fact that many people see singing as something that just comes out naturally, like speaking. Like, why would you have to practice singing? Just open your mouth and sing. But singing is more than that. Of course, there are many people who can sing naturally. Yes, but if you want to do it for years and years without hurting your voice, if you want to do it in a way that it's satisfying for you, that is satisfying for those who are going to listen to you, then you should practice. We need to practice everything we want to master. So, like I said, stating the obvious, practice singing. How to practice singing? Should I just start singing? Well, yes, but not just that. Ideally, you will have some method. I'm going into that in a moment. You will have some method. You will have some exercise. You should have some warm-up exercises. And you should do a not too long, not too short session where you warm up your voice. You do exercises that kind of prepare your voice for the actual singing, that it's like fitness. It's like going to the gym, but you do it for your vocal folds instead of lifting weights. So it's like that, and then you should sing a couple songs. If you have some of your own songs, you sing them. If you have covers you want to practice, then you practice those. The length of the practice session and the intensity of the practice session will also depend on what kind of lifestyle you have as a singer. Are you a touring singer? Then are you going to sing every day live before an audience? Then you will require a different set of practice as someone who's just doing it for themselves, for fun, which is absolutely legitimate. If someone just wants to sing with a band and do a couple gigs or solo artists for YouTube, it's all legitimate. But you should practice in a way that it doesn't overstress your voice. So practice vocal technique, sing songs. If you want to practice some cover songs, this is great, not in order to imitate, I'm going there in a moment also, but in a way to just practice songs that you already know or that you are learning. And there are tons of karaoke videos on YouTube, and there are karaoke tracks on Spotify, which are free, and you can just play them and sing to them. So, and the problem with practicing for many singers is that this mindset that I mentioned before is still there for many. It's like, but practicing, come on. I just want to sing. I don't want to be doing scales and these exercises or those exercises. If you are struggling with practicing, there is a book I can recommend to you. It is called Practice Sing, but sing written with an S, like singing, by a vocal coach, Jamie Vendera, whom I have worked personally with, who is a well-accomplished vocal coach and author. So he wrote this book very quickly. I remember when he put it out a couple years ago. And I'll be putting the link in the description, in the show notes, where you can get this book if you are interested. It's an ebook. You can just read it on your computer, your smartphone, whatever. And it's quite affordable. So check out jamievendera.com anyway, but the direct link to the store where you can find his ebooks will be linked in the description or in the show notes. So that was the first tip. Now let's go to the second one. Find the best singing method for you. You see, a lot of learning how to sing bases upon self-studying, because you won't be able to see a vocal coach every day, unless of course you are a millionaire and you can afford visiting a vocal coach every day. But then again, there is only so much they can give you so frequently. So they can only take you that far on a session. So it requires a lot of self-studying. It is like with learning languages, it's the same thing. You can attend class, you can attend your courses, but you have to do homework. You have to listen to the language you're learning. You have to expose yourself to the language you are learning. So with singing, it's also the same. You have the basics, maybe you have attended some courses, or you are working with a method, or you're visiting a vocal coach, but still you have to put the time to practice, like I just mentioned, and you have to dedicate time to it. So it is a lot of self-studying. So you need a set of exercises and explanations that will carry you through your journey in order to become the singer you want to be. Well, my example, I was using Singing Success. I bought Singing Success like 11 years ago, and I started using it. And after that, I started using Jamie Vendera's method. And then right now, I'm using Singing Success again because I am in a different state of mind now than I was 10 years ago, where I couldn't get the most out of Singing Success. So you see, I try different things. Jamie Vendera works really well for strengthening the voice, especially if you want to develop stamina. And Singing Success is great in order to erase breaks so that you can go from your chest voice to your head voice without effort. And singing based upon the method of Singing Success feels quite effortless. It is the same with Jamie. It feels effortless because he also teaches you how to not think about breaks, but about one single voice, which you can use for singing low and for singing high. But then again, it's a matter of trying, and there are many, many methods out there. So the question you might be asking yourself now is, how do I know which method is the right one for me? Well, recently I came across a blog with great reviews of several singing methods. It is by a vocal coach and singer called Rex Wee, and the blog is called Bathroom Singing Crew. I will put the link here again, like I said, in the description in the show notes. He writes reviews in a very thorough and respectful manner. That is not self-evident, especially in the vocal coaches community. There is a lot of dissing. He really, really tries to be objective and kind in the way he writes, still expressing his opinion. That is one possibility you have. And my personal recommendations, well, Jamie Vendera, he also has a vocal academy, online vocal academy. It's called venderavocalacademy.com. That's the website. And singingsuccess.com is Brett Manning's website. But you can also look up other methods. I'm not endorsed by anyone, so I'm just recommending what I have used. But you can see there are several vocal coaches on YouTube. Some are really good. You can see that they are solid. Some maybe not. So you have to find what resonates with you. Is the vocal coach kind? Is the vocal coach dissing on other coaches? Is the way he's teaching a way that sounds logical to you? Is he or she teaching the kind of stuff that you want to learn? Is he or she demonstrating the kind of stuff you can do? And read different reviews of these different methods. You can not only check Rex Wee's website that I mentioned before, you can also go to Amazon. Of course, there is a lot of subjectivity. Of course, reviews are subjective, always. Because what works best for you does not work best for me. We are different. We are different singers. We have different bodies. We have different mindsets. But you can also use your discernment and check which reviews are written from which place. From a kind place, from an objective as possible place, or is it with the intention of warning somebody about bad quality products? Anyway, do your own research and find the best method that works for you. My third tip is to work with a vocal coach. And I'm not the best example of this because I haven't worked with a vocal coach in a long time. But please hear me out anyway. A singing method, like all these methods I have mentioned, is good and is useful. But if you are not very experienced with your vocal technique, you might even injure yourself while trying things without supervision, without guidance. And many of these methods include some coaching calls, and that's great. This is great added value. And the coach might listen to you doing the exercises. He or she might guide you so that you can find the best ways for you to do these exercises. But then again, they are usually far apart, and you see them online only. And it's possible, like in my case, that these coaches are in other countries. I live in Germany, and I was lucky enough that Jamie Vendera came to Poland twice. So I took a trip to Poland in order to be able to meet him personally after having been in contact with each other online for a while. And I could work with him personally. I had group lessons with him and private lessons as well. And I have worked with him online as well. But it's not the same when he already knows me personally. He could He could even put his fingers on the top of my belly in order to make pressure, so I could remember to put pressure there. So this kind of stuff. That's something a vocal coach can do if they are there in the flesh with you. So you need someone that you can meet personally, and I'm very glad that I can recommend this again in 2023 after these last years where online became the norm for almost everything. So I hope it remains like that we can do stuff online, but we can also do stuff in presence. Some things make more sense in presence, as much as I really like doing stuff online. So you need someone who can listen to you singing right there, who can listen to what you do with your voice, who can see the way that you move, to see the way that you use your body, and then give you direct advice and provide you with different tips and advices on what you can do with his or her singing method or with stuff that you are using online. Ideally, you can combine both things. You can combine a personal vocal coach and an online vocal coach. And like I said before, unless you're a millionaire, you don't have to visit a vocal coach every day. They can be quite pricey. It is really a craft that they have learned. Hopefully, they are well qualified and they have the tools. They have learned the tools and they have the pedagogic skills in order to teach you. So it is right and it is fair that they have the prices that they have, depending on their level of fame and on the level of fame of their customers. They can be even pricier. So please do balance self-studying and a personal vocal coach. I personally think that you can visit a vocal coach. Depending on your level, you can visit a vocal coach once per week and then extend it maybe to once every 2 weeks and once per month even. If you practice consistently with your own singing method, and if you practice the stuff that your vocal coach gives you, you will be unstoppable. Just find the balance. My fourth advice is be yourself. We all have our heroes. I mean, come on. Everybody who wants to become a singer has heard somebody else sing and has thought, wow, I want to be like her or him. I might do an episode about my heroes too. I have quite a lot of heroes. And I have been compared to certain singers again. I have been compared, when I sing high, I have been compared to Geddy Lee of Rush. And there might be some truth to it, but I've never tried to imitate Geddy Lee. It just comes out like that. I did try to imitate him when I was covering Rush with a prog band I used to play with several years ago. But then again, those singers, your heroes, they are usually singers who found their own voices instead of trying to copy others. Let's face it, there is only one Axl Rose, there is only one Chris Cornell, there is only one Bruce Dickinson, Freddie Mercury, Adam Levine, Adele, Amy Lee, Christina Scabia, Anastasia, you name them. There is only one of each of them. And unless you are playing covers with tribute bands that want to emulate, that want to copy certain bands or pay homage to certain bands and certain artists, and they require singers to sing as closely as possible to the original, unless you are doing that, and then again, you should be careful with that. Try to do the most, to make the most out of the instrument that you have, which is your own voice, which will never be the same voice as one of these other singers. You can learn to copy, of course, but then you will probably be able to just copy. And we don't want that. We want to, I take this from Jamie Vendera, we want to raise our voices. And in order to raise our voices, we have to find our own voices. Your voice is a divine gift. It's unique. Each one of us has a unique voice. So learn how to use it in a way that it feels free and that you enjoy using it. And don't think about, why can't I sound like him or her? Before in the episode, I mentioned karaoke, singing, covers as a way to practice. Oh, of course, absolutely. And you will tend to copy some of the tricks and treats from these singers that you are covering. Absolutely. The idea is not that you don't copy at all. Check out what they're doing good. Check out what they might not be doing so well and adapt it to your own form of singing, to your own style, to your own voice. Last but not least, know when to rest. This is extremely important. Now that you've been, hopefully, in parentheses, listening to me for a while now, or watching me for a while now, you are highly motivated and you want to start right away. So go for it, yes. But please keep in mind that exercising the voice is just like any form of exercising. It's like going to the gym or jogging or whatever. It requires resting times. And of course, there are singers that sing every day. There are singers that have to sing every day if they are on tour or they are performing singers at musicals or this kind of stuff. And even then, there will be breaks in these tour schedules, because otherwise they might wear themselves out. Yep. This is an ability that you learn, and even athletes, the top athletes, will take time to rest, and it's the same with singing. It requires rest so that you don't wear yourself out. And giving your voice the necessary rest it requires could look like this, like do a session, practice session like I mentioned before, then warm down so that you can bring your voice back to speaking level. And on certain days of the week, you might skip singing completely and just do like a couple warm-up exercises. Maybe a couple lip rolls or lip trills, whatever your vocal coach calls them. But it's a matter of not overdoing it. Maybe you can have a day off where you only do some lip rolls for 5 minutes, and that will be enough, so that your voice still remembers how to do the tricks that you require for singing. And a piece of advice based upon a little bit of experience, although I've never been a touring singer in my life. Are you sick? Don't practice. Really, don't practice. I have made this mistake and I have regretted it. It has happened to me, and it has happened to me already 2 or 3 times. By the end of the year, when the winter gets colder and the weather gets kind of not so stable, so you tend to get sick. And I have sung despite it. And this happened to me last month, November, and until December of 2022, that I was very sick. I have been in a flow, using Singing Success again, finding these exercises again, doing them with my new state of mind, and I have felt great doing them. My voice felt so open, so free, and then I got sick. And the worst part of getting sick this time was that I had throat ache, like really, really hard throat ache, that it was painful to swallow. So that was really, really hard for me, because I had to stop. At first I was like, well, okay, I can do a couple exercises, and I attended an online chanting circle with Kevin James, whom I interviewed in an earlier episode. You might want to check that out in order to know what I'm talking about. And I started doing some and singing a little bit, but I realized, no, this is not working. I'm harming my vocal folds doing this. So I stopped and I just let them sing. Everybody sang and I just listened to the music. I let the music guide me. I enjoyed the music. I just wasn't singing it. So unless you absolutely have no choice but to sing on a given day while you're sick because of certain obligations, contractual obligations and so on, try to do it in the most kind way possible to yourself, seeing where your voice is at the moment, seeing where your limits are, but still, it's not good. Still, the best piece of advice when you're sick is to stop singing. Stop singing. And after this long and insisting cold that I had for like 3 weeks, I started singing again. I started using Singing Success again. And I feel great. My voice is back. And I have no throat aches anymore. I can do the scales. I can do everything. And it's fine. I'm not trying to hit the highest notes, but that's because I am trying myself. It's for me, my own way of seeing it now. I'm trying to explore the lower tones as well. But I could just try to keep reaching higher and higher and higher. But I'm healthy again, so I can do it. So that's my last advice for you. Keep working on improving your voice, but don't overdo it. Don't force it. Try to remain healthy, and when you don't feel healthy, don't sing. So that's it. Those were my 5 tips in order to become a better singer in 2023. I hope you liked them. I hope they weren't too obvious for you, but even if they were too obvious for you, I hope you can take something out of it for this year or for whenever you are listening to this. Like I said before, New Year resolutions are fine, but you can do changes anytime during the year. You don't have to wait for special dates. So I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will see or hear again very soon with another episode of the Heart of Singing podcast. In the meantime, sing your heart out, as always. Bye.